Hello, Saybrook University students. Welcome back. MBA 3006, where we are doing a deep dive into international business law and ethics. Dr. D, a pleasure and privilege, of course, uh, facilitating this course. Before we get started, just wanted to take the opportunity to let you know how cool it was to meet you and connect with you a couple of weeks ago uh, on campus there in Costa Mesa. Thank you for connecting there, and I look forward to connecting with you again in our next live session, which will actually be on Saturday, the 18th at 9 a.m. And just let me double check that time here. Yeah, okay. So that will be Saturday, November 18th at 9:30. So we'll go from 9:30 to 2:30 p.m. But what I'd like to do is just real quickly do an overview of Module 3, and we will do a deep dive here into international trade and global trade laws. The primary learning outcome here is for you to really understand and analyze the ethical concepts and principles of international trade and global trade law. And we'll do that through a list of learning activities, including your reading of chapter 2, 9, and 10 in the textbook. You'll also watch some videos in this module. You participate in weekly discussion board postings. And then finally, you will complete and submit a research essay. The book is embedded directly into the module. You, of course, know that by now. We're on module 3. So, chapter 2, international trade and foreign direct investment, critical to your understanding of international business and to identify potential ethical risk or scenarios that may come up. Chapter 9, exporting, importing, and global sourcing. Again, directly impacts international trade and foreign direct investment. And then finally, strategies of international business. Two really good articles, if I do say so myself: ethical decision making and EU policy and international trade. And so you'll notice already here that in module 3, we are now moving in and we're going to do an overview, high level overview of the UK, United Kingdom, and the EU. That should be the European Union there. See, I have a typo on here I need to fix. So that should be the EU, which is the European Union. And of course, once upon a time, the UK used to be part of the EU, but a few years ago, they went through this process called Brexit, which you may have heard of in the news. So now England or the UK is no longer part of the EU. And so what we're going to do is we're really going to look at laws in both jurisdictions and kind of compare and contrast the two from an ethical perspective, of course. So there's some resources for you listed on the landing page. GDPR, if you're not familiar with that, that is the leading uh, law out of Europe that uh, really goes well beyond anything that we have here in the United States regarding protecting information, the privacy, and the handling of sensitive information and personal information for EU citizens living both in the European Union but also living abroad. So, in your week 5 discussion board postings, you're going to do some research on the International Labor Organization standards. And really, what I want you to do is compare those standards with the standards of the World Trade Organization. And in order to support that, you're going to provide some relevant business cases or support from peer review or legal sources as evidence for your 300-word posting and response to teammates, classmates. And again, I want to reiterate the fact that you must have support. Please have support from peer review sources, from credible sources in your discussion board, in your initial response to the discussion board postings. Try to stay away from .orgs or .com sites unless they are supporting the sources that you already have. So they shouldn't be your primary sources. Your primary sources should be scholarly, meaning they're coming from academic journal articles, they're coming from textbooks, they're coming from .edu websites, they're coming from .gov websites. Those are your scholarly sources. Credible sources include information from industry insiders, device manufacturers, software developers, uh, industry associations. Those are credible sources. And then everything else after that, such as .com, .orgs, blogs, and other random references, will only go to support your evidence from scholarly and credible sources. Okay, there is a article review, and that article review is for you to read the article How to Develop Ethical Leaders. After you read that, you're going to follow that 4-point prompt there, right? You're going to summarize and accurately capture the main points. You're going to summarize and make emphasis on the concepts and guidelines rather than just provide descriptions or summaries, if you will. You're going to summarize in your own words. I don't want any, let's say, direct quotes or direct copy and pasting or artificially generated content. Your summary must be in your own words, and it should be about 2 to 3 pages long, not including the title page or the reference page. And really, the title page is optional as far as I'm concerned. But of course, that reference page is mandatory. And ideally, you want it formatted in APA version 7. However, if it isn't perfectly formatted, it isn't going to be a deal breaker or something that's powerful enough to change your letter grade. Excellent week 6 discussion here in module 3. I want you to watch a video by Norman Bowie. And after you watch that video, I want you to discuss and form a narrative of your personal ethics for business. Needs to be approximately 2 to 300 words. And of course, you need support from scholarly and credible sources. Your response to classmates, although that you do not need to incorporate the evidence there, you certainly need a thoughtful, meaningful response to 2 of your classmates. Okay, there is a second discussion board posting in week 6, and that is for your 90-second elevator speech explaining the ethical dilemmas and importance of sustainable component of your problem or case study article. So, what you're going to do here, you have already been assigned a particular project team, and I apologize, we're using groups and projects teams interchangeable with each other. So I apologize there if that's a little confusing on the nomenclature. But basically, what each individual person will do is read the case study article, and then you're just going to give a 90-second elevator speech of the case study and particularly the ethical dilemma of it. You'll go ahead and post that in your discussion board prompt there. No need to respond to classmates or anything like that for this one. Um, but reach out to me with any questions, comments, or concerns there. The whole idea is that everyone in the group will read their own case study article articulated in a 90-second elevator speech. And when you come together as a group to start working on the project milestones, you'll all be at the same level as far as your knowledge and understanding of the case study itself. So that's the whole idea there, just in case you wanted to know or in case that was a little confusing for you. And then finally, here in module three, we're back to your ethics research essays there, where you are incorporating the first four steps of the Rock Institute 12-step approach to analyzing ethical dilemmas. And I want you to follow that verbatim. We talked about that in class last month. I want you to use those first four steps as section headers. So tell me in section one, the state of the nature of the ethical issue. Then another section header, list the relevant facts. Another section header, identify stakeholders. And then your fourth section header, clarifying underlying values, excuse me. So those need to be your four section headers. All of your analysis or critique will come under those section headers. And so we're at a point now where the expectation is that you will have these ethical research essays correctly formatted. And one of the reasons why is I want you all to get with that formatting, because later on when you start to do your case study ethical analysis, you're all going to need to follow that rigor and that structure there that we're going to give you to analyze your ethical case study. So this is good practice. I do plan on, if your uh, submissions aren't in the correct format, I do plan to push those back to you to ask you to reformat them as we head into the final couple modules in this course. Need to make sure that you are in a position to accurately support your group project as demonstrated in your individual assignments. Okay, I'm going to step down off that soapbox here. So your module three ethics research essay should be formatted in APA version 7. It should have corresponding appraisals that follow each of your section header. Please integrate information and text citations from the literature and also from other sources that analyze the facts and ethical ramifications of these business practices. And then you're also going to look at opportunities to practice your case study analysis, meaning that you're going to submit original work. I'm not looking for any direct quotes, but for you to put your critique and analysis in your own words. And your submission should be approximately 2 to 3 pages. I'm not sure if I mentioned this or not, but the article is Trade Between Two Unequal Partners. And it really does a good job of looking at UK law, or I should say gaps in UK law, and um, and how um, their relations, their international relations with other countries, particularly those countries in Africa, and how the power and weight and influence of countries in the West here, such as England, have undue influence and control over some of these smaller fledgling nations. But I don't want to be a spoiler there, so please feel free to read the article yourself, and I'll look forward to reading your critique. Okay, that's it. Bye for now. And I look forward to connecting with you on Saturday, November 18th at 9:30 on that beautiful campus in Costa Mesa, California.